So I am interested in your story,
Aww.
in the fires. So I want to know, like, what... I think we talked about it a little bit, but what was your experience from, like, the storm, the tropical storm, till the first point at which you got out of Lahaina?
Oh, it was an interesting day. It was really, like, there's no service, no power, no nothing. It was super windy. So we were just kind of sitting at home. And I just remember being, like, really bored at the house.
Yeah.
So, I'm sitting there, and then the wind starts picking up. And so, actually, before the fire started, most of our roof was actually blown off.
Really?
That's how strong the fire was. Like big pieces of plywood, like the size of this.
All the shingles
area,
just off?
everything.
So
like even the plywood, like
you
the
could
plywood,
see
just
the
flying
plywood.
off. Yeah,
You can see
Flying
the
off.
sky.
Yeah,
That's right. Haley said, like,
You could see the
Jacob's roof.
sky?
Yeah, Jacob's roof.
Your
just came
roof,
off.
like the whole
like
roof.
you could like it was completely off. Like
Oh my! Do you know
all the
what
shingles and everything.
Do you know what the wind speed was?
wind speed was like 60 to 70.
So just that, like in terms of a disaster,
so most people's
that's
houses
already a
were-
natural disaster.
Yeah, they were getting their wind. The wind was getting their roofs blown off.
That's like mainland. That's like tornado type stuff.
Yeah.
So that's already
Exactly.
like grounds for like we need to get.
We need help.
Yeah, it was crazy. But usually when we have a hurricane and stuff happens like that, they just don't do anything about it.
Right.
So I was cruising at home. It's about 12, and I remember calling up Nixon, like, "Yo," and that was weird. It was the only phone call I could get through that day. There was two phone calls I could get through. The other one I'll talk about in a bit. But when I called Nixon up, I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing like right now? Like, I'm super bored at the house. Like, I want you. Like, let's go do something." He's like, "Oh, he was working housekeeping." So he's like, "Oh, I'm just finishing up a job, so I'll be there soon. I'll come pick
Yeah.
you up soon."
Yeah.
And thinking about it, like I just was like, okay, he's not gonna come. So I laid down, went to sleep, and I remember waking up hearing people screaming. Like I could hear my mom and my dad like yelling.
Holy
and I was
shit.
like, what's going on? And I look up and I see this black smoke just coming down the mountain towards our house, and I'm like, that's not good. So I remember having literally, like, we had animals in the house.
Yeah. What,
So-
like pets, dogs, and
We had some cats, so we had to get the
Gotcha.
cats downstairs.
They
And
eat dogs.
when I went back upstairs, there was like 2 minutes for me to grab whatever I could.
Right.
And all I could think about was grabbing my backpack and my computer because I have music on there because I make music.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't let that lose
yeah.
that.
Grab that quick.
So I remember grabbing my stuff and getting ready to go downstairs, and the only other person in the house was my dad. And he's sitting, like, he's just standing there rummaging through his bag, like just standing still rummaging through his bag. And I'm like, "Dad, what are you doing? We gotta get out of here. Like, we need to go now, like right now." And he's like, no, just go down. I can't find my keys. Like, just it was just complete shock. And I was
Wow.
like, "No, we need to go now. Like, I'm not gonna leave this house without you. Get your ass downstairs. Like, hurry up." And so eventually he's like, "Oh, I found the keys," and he goes downstairs. And by that time, it seemed like the house right above us was on fire, which is only like maybe 10 yards from our house.
Wow.
So it's above us, maybe about on a 7 feet above, and then it drops into our driveway.
Yeah.
And then there's our house. And I remember going as I grabbed my dad and I was telling him go downstairs, the house was already filled up with smoke. So I was almost about to collapse in the house. Like, I could see my vision just going
Jeez, just
tunnel
like
vision.
carbon monoxide.
Yeah, I was just like, whoa.
pollutants.
And I had a bandana on, a paintball mask on, and I was like, dude, this is crazy. So
When did you grab the mask? When were you like, I need to put this on?
Like, that
Immediately?
was the first thing I
As
did.
soon
I
as
just
you
got
woke up?
dressed. I was like, okay, what do I need to put on? And I was like, okay, fire protection. I want like long sleeve.
So the
and then-
smoke was in your house at that point.
Yeah,
already.
smoke was already
as
there.
soon as you okay.
Yeah, and all the windows were closed, so
Jesus.
how it filled the house up like within 30 seconds.
my
It was
God.
crazy, and so I remember going, like almost blacking out. So I remember grabbing my bandana and just yanking it off, and I was like, and I started coughing too because I was just inhaling everything. So I ran downstairs,
Damn.
and I as soon as I opened the door outside, it felt like three just Tongan dudes jumped on my back. Like, it was so hot. The weight of it was just like I almost collapsed again outside.
The weight of the smog?
Like, it was just the heat and
And
the
the heat?
yeah. It was crazy.
Wow.
And so I remember looking up and
Wow.
just feeling it. So I run to the car, turn on the car, and we go. And as we're driving out, I'm seeing cars blow up right next to my car. like houses blow up, the propane tanks were exploding.
Cars blow up, so the gas tanks.
Yeah, like
ignited.
cars were like on fire, and I'm driving by them like 3 feet away from my car. And then I remember I was following my mom, and she took a wrong turn, and so I tailed her as hard as I could, and I said, "No, you guys stay on my ass and follow me out of here," because I knew the back roads. So we were going, and we went to where Kahoma Stream was, and it was me in front. My mom was behind us in her van, and then my dad was behind us in the truck. So it was 3 of us in a row. And I remember just getting out there, and there was traffic getting out. So we're just sitting still. And I'm looking all around, and I'm seeing, like, the way the wind was blowing, you're getting ash from the houses above us flying and hitting the car. So, like, balls of ash, like the size of baseballs, are, like, hitting the car.
Jeez.
Like, it's raining ash. It's like, I'm like, dude, this is, like, Revelation type stuff. This is, like, the end of the world.
This is Judgment Day, right?
Yeah. And I was like, what is going on?
And you're a family that goes to church regularly.
Yeah.
So
I believe in God, won't stop, like that. So I remember I was in the car, and we're sitting there, and I'm looking at this fire, and I'm looking at how it's coming, and I remember just being so, like, I knew I was gonna die.
Really?
Right where I was at, yeah.
you knew.
I was like, dude, it felt so real. So I remember trying.
You had to, did you? What was that? You like accepted it. You're like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, so what happened is I was there, and I was trying to call everybody. I was trying to call everyone, like my mom, my dad, my brother. Nothing would get through. So I sat there, and I kind of sat back in my driver's seat, and I was like, wow, I'm gonna die alone. Like, I won't be able to talk to anybody. I won't be able to get out and, you know, say anything. And then I looked up. I remember looking up at God, and I said a prayer, and then I was like, okay, take me if you want.
Right.
And that didn't happen. So as we're going out, we eventually make it out about maybe, it was like, dude, it was crazy. It was like maybe 20 minutes in that line. And then we finally make it out of Lahaina, and we decided to take back roads from Lahaina all the way to the Marriott, like above Ka'anapali. So we're going to the Marriott. That's where our rendezvous point is. We're going to meet at the Marriott parking lot. So we eventually get there. Me and my mom get there, and I look, and I'm like, where's Dad? And she's like, he was right behind us. I don't know where he's at. And I was like, okay. So I remember walking up to the road and just sitting there for about 45 minutes, and I was like waiting for him to come, because I knew there was traffic and everything.
Yeah.
And then
Damn.
my mom was like, you know, I didn't see him yet. I looked at her, and I said, okay. Made sure they were situated, and I said, I'm going back in. So the fire's still going on. So I took my car and went back on those dirt roads, and I just drove right into the fire. And I remember I remembered the last place we were at, and I drove to that road, and seeing that road just completely engulfed in flames. I was like,
Jesus.
Dude, this is the last place I saw my dad.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dude, he's dead. So I remember going, because we couldn't call. So I remember getting there, driving back, telling my mom, I don't know where he's at. I'm going back in again. And then I remember going right back in. And I was looking everywhere. Couldn't find him. So I remember meeting up with her, and I was like, dude, Dad's like, I don't know where he's at.
Yeah.
He's not, you can't call anything. So what I hadn't realized is that the cops that were there had separated us. So they made him go a different way.
Right.
So we went further up north, and he went back Kahului way, over the Pali. That's where the cops like directed him.
Yeah. Damn.
So he was okay and everything, and I was like, we eventually made it out through a whole series of just, we continued to run. I remember sleeping at the Marriott till, what was it, like from 12 I fell asleep at night, and then I woke up at 3. Marcus woke me up.
Oh yeah,
He
Marcus.
was banging on my window.
Our black friend.
Like he reached, our black friend, he says
Our friend.
and he was like, my window was like open a little bit, cracked, and he was reaching in, like pounding my chest. We need to get up. The fire's above us. And I was like, the fire's above Marriott, like Ka'anapali area? And he's like, yeah, follow me, we're going to my house. So he took me and my family to his house, and a bunch of other people from the Marriott to his house, and we all slept there. So I remember staying awake, just kind of lying down for about an hour, and my mom's looking at the fire and watching it kind of get closer, as, just looks like it's getting brighter. So she's like, we should, I looked at her and I was like, we should go around the head. We should go up north around the head to Wailuku side. Right. She's like, okay. And I was like, we need to beat the traffic. Like, my car was at empty, dude. So I did that drive on empty, and I remember finally getting around and seeing the whole mountain on fire on this side, like what was it? Was it Pukalani was on fire?
Oh,
Haiku was on
man.
fire. Kihei was on fire, and I was like, dude, this is the end of the world. What is going on?
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's
basically,
crazy.
Yeah.
You saw everything. You saw
Yeah.
all the fires.
Yeah, that was nuts. Like, but coming around the mountain and seeing the whole mountain on fire on this side, I was like, okay, what is going on? Like, I was like, it's the end of the world already.
Damn, dude.
And so we finally, long story short, we got reconnected with my dad. Found him. He was in King's
Okay, I was gonna ask where.
Yeah,
And is that where y'all first went?
He went straight to
yeah.
the church.
He went straight to the church, King's parking
straight
lot.
to praying.
Yeah, and that's
a
where we found him.
Top G.
And yeah, and then I realized
He
like
was probably like, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
I'm not
go
sorry
for
to
it.
interrupt. It's just, I feel like your dad, there was either two things when you saw him there. He was like, oh yeah, I knew you guys are okay. Or he was like, oh, I'm so happy. Well, he's probably like, I'm happy to see you, but it was like, he was either worried or he was just like, I'm sure.
he gave me an embrace, and then I told him, I went back in the fire twice to come for you, and
Yeah.
he was like, why would you do that kind of thing? Like, you're stupid.
He's like, I raised you smarter than that.
Dude, I was
Leave
driving
me
the
to
Honda
die.
Civic, and I was drifting on those back roads, like intentionally. Like, I was going so fast, I was like just driving, and then I remember just whipping it, like catching. It wasn't fun, but it was like I was playing like The Youngest Daughter by Superhaven. It's a really good rock song, but I was just like
Going to Wailuku, you mean? That
No. In the back roads, looking for my dad.
For your dad.
Yeah, I played that and
Dude,
played
that's
Kanye West.
badass.
God did.
That's badass,
Yeah,
dude.
or Praise God. It was, I don't know what it was. It was like some hype song.
Damn.
And so, but yeah, I
you
realized
can make
like
a movie out of this story.
it would be cool. That would be a cool movie.
Just wait till you hear Marcus's.
Marcus's story is a movie.
It is a movie.
Disney could buy that and like they'd make Michael B. Jordan be Marcus.
Yeah, or any black
Well,
actor.
is there,
They all look the same.
Samuel
Keep
L.
going though.
Jackson.
I feel like there was more you were gonna say.
I realized like only like 2 weeks ago, I realized this, that if Nixon had picked me up that day, my family would have all died. Because my mom didn't know how to drive those back roads.
Your dad
And my
was in
dad
shock.
was in shock. Like, and so I
Wow.
was like, I'm convinced that my family would have
Chicken skin, bro.
all
Dude, that's
died
crazy.
if Nixon had come to pick me up. And if Nixon had picked me up, we would have been on Front Street at Haleakala. And that's where, and Front Street is where it got hit the hardest.
And why didn't he come pick you up?
He time didn't work out, and then
Yeah.
he couldn't call me. And I remember too, like right before I was getting out, the
Damn.
only other phone call I made, because I made only 2 phone calls that day. One was to Nixon, and the only other phone call that connected was to Jason.
Damn.
And I told Jason he was probably like
Who's Jason?
He's the producer friend that I was talking
Oh,
about
gotcha,
a little
gotcha.
before the podcast. And I called him up, and he lives in his room. You can't see outside like up the mountain, so he would have gotten whacked by that fire and not even know. And I told him, I was like, yo, you need to look outside right now. You need to see it. You need to get your stuff and leave the house as soon as possible. You're gonna get hit by this fire. And he's like, what? And he had enough time to grab what he needed, like his, So I was happy that I was able to.
He's got some nuts videos on his phone, dude.
Yeah.
Everything
Oh, I-
burned
Of
down
like
for
the
him,
roof.
too.
He's got his
Yeah.
roof
So
coming
he
off.
so because of you get to save some stuff.
Yeah. So he saved his computer that has all the music on it, which
Yeah, dude. That's
dude has like
expensive,
400
dude.
stuff on there. And so that was crazy though,
Damn.
like coming into the realization of like, yo, my family could have died if Nixon had picked me up.
You seem like a man of action. Like when shit hits the fan, it seems like you take action.
Yeah.
Do you identify with that?
Yeah, I don't want to sit around.
You don't want
Like-
to sit around and are you gonna pray, or are you just like, I'm gonna act with faith kind of a thing?
Okay.
Or are you just like, I have to act or else I can't take it?
I don't align with a lot of Christians in this way. They sit around and pray. That's all they do.
And they wait.
I pray as I'm doing it. I'd rather go do something, pray, and get stuff done.
I'm a believer that faith
That's-
is in action.
Yeah. I mean, people will sit around and pray their whole life, but if you don't take action, you're not gonna get nothing.
Very interesting.
So I would rather just pray, put on the armor, and then go just do it.
So what was your mindset? Like, so you said you thought you were gonna die, or you accepted that. You were like, I'm gonna die. And then what happened after that? did you realize that you weren't, or did you just accept that you were gonna die and you just took decisions out of abandon? You just didn't care. You're just like, I'm invincible. Whatever, I'll die. I don't care. Did you get that God kind of complex where you're like, fuck everything, put the music on, fucking whipping around the back roads through the flames, like put on
just
a
going,
highway to hell, just fucking like
just
curving
going
around, your tires are on fire, like.
I think Jacob, as my friend from outsider looking in, I think when you say you're like, I'm gonna die, I think you were just reaffirming how your faith is. You're a man of action, and your faith is action. So you're like, okay, it's not my say what happens to me, so I accept that this is a real possibility and actually probably happening now, and I will then move forward.
Yeah.
Whatever happens will happen, but I'm gonna move forward, and I will not abandon like action. I will not abandon family and friends. I will not abandon faith.
Right.
I was
how
like
I see it.
so ready, like because how close it was, and I saw people drop. Like I got videos on my phone of like people like aftermath of the fire. Dude, it's crazy. Like
Wow.
completely toasted.
You saw people die.
I saw people just drop, and then
And these are people where? They were just standing
In Lahaina.
on Front Street?
Yeah,
Or they were
in Lahaina, like
were
we
walking around?
up Lahaina Luna, like running from the fire and stuff. Like I see people like next to their houses, and the house goes on fire. It was like, what the?
and they dropped because
It's
the
heat.
smog,
There's a lot of
carbon
asphyxiation.
monoxide,
Yeah, a lot of that. But
no oxygen.
yeah, I think to answer your question, moving forward from it, I think what made it so easy for me to just help and go back into Lahaina every day, nonstop, sometimes twice a day to do the supplies and everything, because I had accepted that I died and I lost everything. It felt like I was stepping into a new life. It's so weird to kind of explain it, but it was like I walked through a doorway where like there was nothing holding me back. Like it was a new mentality.
You almost had an ego death.
Yeah, it was like there
like
was.
when you ever hear of ayahuasca?
No.
It's a Amazonian ritual that makes you release tons of DMT. It's an herb, and people say they have an ego death. It literally feels like you're dying, and some people have a terrible reaction, but afterwards people feel like they're reborn because they've had this ego death where they no longer are a slave to this voice in their head, and they're just acting out of a greater awareness and consciousness. So it seems that you had like this ego death.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It definitely felt like, I was just stepping into this new, like, I just didn't care. I just didn't care. Like, I wanted to help others, but I didn't care about myself. So like out of all of those donations, only the specific ones, which were like so little, like certain people are like, hey, this is just for you, I would take it. But everything else, like the group that we had raised close to like what, 22,000.
I was gonna say.
Fuck
20,
yeah.
That's
badass.
And we
dude.
just spent it all.
Well, so let's go into that. Like, so I don't think people listening really can understand. So you lost everything. You almost died. You almost lost family members.
Oh, I did.
You did lose family members.
Yeah,
auntie, right?
I had an auntie that she got toasted in the driveway.
Oh my
Oh yeah, I
God.
have so many friends that I knew, and like people that were so close to my family that died.
Wow.
We knew one of our friends, she was actually out of her house and running from the fire, and she decided to turn around and go back in the house. And a lot of people think that she did that so the family could identify her body, because she knew that she was going to die.
And then
Wow. I'm sorry, keep going.
we just have a good friend that her father decided not to leave. He was not like teeth and nail like to pull him off. He stayed, and they left because it was getting to the point where they had to leave, and he would not leave, and so he passed.
Yeah, stayed in the house.
Wow. And so your auntie, was it your mom or dad's side?
Oh, my dad's side. All the
your
family
dad's
here is my
sister.
dad's side. My dad, or one of my aunties, so my dad she's like a relative of ours. But everything here, they're older than you. Out of respect, you call them auntie and uncle.
Right.
So I had two. One was my mom's really good friend. That was like, she was basically blood to us because she was always around.
Of course, yeah.
R.I.P. Auntie Tony. And then my other one was, her name was Donna, and she died in her driveway. Like, I remember hearing like that people went to the driveway and said, get in the car, and she was like, no, I'm not doing it. So she just,
Wow.
it's crazy.
Damn.
And to think that, on like a little segue or a tangent, to think that people, for whatever reason, could be shock, fear, maybe even like excitement and exhilaration to know that like some people believe, oh, when they die, they're going to be in paradise. But to think that my thought is people were willing to not leave because some of these older aunties and uncles, they know how hard it is to start over. And it'd be better if I just stayed. For whatever, I don't know what they're actually thinking, but I think people stayed because they're like, why? Everything's gone.
I think most people just didn't think it would be bad.
Very possible.
Because I was talking with people that were staying, and they were like, y'all are just overreacting. And the one guy I talked to, he's like, I'm just going to wait until all of you get out of here because you're hogging up the roads. And in his mind, it was just a silly little thing. Like, it's so silly. 2 hours later, I hope he got out of it. I don't know, but it's all gone. Like, no one knew. Just people had instincts, intuition, that was it. That's all you could go off of. Mm-hmm. But like,
because there was no alarm, there was nothing. Like, crazy.
It does sound like the people who stayed. They stayed out of stubbornness.
They did. There's the top row of houses underneath the bypass. The only reason that they like survived is because people were stubborn. They flooded their houses and stood outside with the freaking water hose.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
That's where Roy and Nao live.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's not an understanding of how hot these fires can get.
Last night, Roy was telling me I watched a 10-minute video.
It's kind of sad. It
2
really
days
is
ago
sad.
of Lahaina, so I got to see 10 minutes of like the destroyed Lahaina, and I have not seen Roy since the whole thing. So I saw him last night, and he starts telling me a story, dude. It was like an hour and a half. Remember when you guys there?
Yeah, you were talking to him for longer than an hour and a half.
His whole story, and people were saying that he was here. He's like, no, because what happened is on the bottom part of Lahaina Luna, where there's like 30, 40 houses, you're saying they flooded their houses, just like that one Filipino cousin and the uncle. They were like helping down there. I think we have to walk through the park to get to that bottom part. You know, there's that, like, it was like the county mill, like, it's got that warehouse. There was a truck on fire, and then there's a tree about to catch on fire, and then there's another trash can on fire, and then it's like, well, okay, but the fire's way down there, and it's just these random things on fire, and they were trying to, like, wet down trees and wet down things and houses so that from a truck to a trash can the embers and these things don't catch everything on fire. And his cousin was like, what, drove by, come with me? He was like, no, I'm staying, you go. He was like, all right, I'm staying. And he goes, no, don't take this away from me, because if you fucking die and I make it alive, I could not even look at your father. Like, I could never fucking look at your fucking dad. Like, fucking truly, if you stayed because I'm staying. He goes, you go. And he goes, okay, cool, I'll stay then. But yeah, it was crazy. People were doing that, man. They were stopping. He said tankers went by. 3 tankers went by. Stop, look at what they're doing. And left. He said finally one tanker stopped, and they were like, please. And then they fucking finally, 3 tankers had to go by, and one finally fucking stopped to douse it. So it was all those community members that stopped it from burning the rest.
Even
of those
Hawaiian
fucking,
homes.
Yeah, burning those fucking.
They
houses.
stood outside with their hoses, and they just stood there spraying.
Dousing yards.
Dude, people that live here are very stubborn. I wish I could have done that in my house.
I think maybe it stems from having to fight for your home and having to work so hard.
Losing the land all the time.
Losing the land, and
it's like, I'll be damned if a fire is going to take my land.
Yeah. So anyways, so what was to go back to your kind of like mindset after, so you felt like, so you got out of the fires, you lost people, you loved ones.
Wow.
Let's wait for that.
That's great.
So you lost loved ones, you got out of the fire, and the next day you're going back in to help.
Yeah.
So your mindset is, I died.
I lost everything, and I did not care who I was. I didn't care what I was gonna like do. All I knew is I was gonna make a difference.
Yeah.
And
it was almost like you had a personality death.
It was crazy too. Like people couldn't handle me because I was making jokes about the fire.
Hell
yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I was like, dude, when I was young, I had this auntie who would come in the room all the time, the living room, and she would like just give all my cousins dirty lick, and she'd beat the shit out of them. She'd come in with a slipper and just lick everybody. and they would and the kids like they're like, hey, we're gonna call Auntie Donna, we're gonna call her. And the kids, no, don't call Auntie Donna, start crying. And she'd come in, hey, who's not listening, huh? And come in and just beat the shit out of them. And I think some of my cousins all created a prayer circle and prayed a little too hard for her to stop, because that's why they found her in her driveway. That's
yes.
Yeah, you see the look on his face, dude. Like, let's zoom in the camera.
Those all the time.
The look at my face is like, I'm going to hell.
People were literally like, why are you saying this?
Yeah.
Like, I was like showing them pictures of my cat, like that died. And I'm like, dude, look at this.
Yeah,
and I was like, look at my triceps in that picture, dude. Those are so cool. Like, they could not handle it.
I think because Tim and I, when I first saw Tim, so you got out of Lahaina the day it happened.
Yeah.
So I was stuck for a few days, and so Tim comes over to where I'm at, and we're immediately making jokes. And I think there's like when you go through that kind of trauma, you have to do something to lighten the load.
Oh yeah, make light of it.
You can't take it seriously for that long. Like, in order to survive, we talked about this in another podcast, the Play podcast, you have to have a playful attitude. Otherwise, you're going to be stubborn and not think of solutions, and you're not going to move forward. And I think it's just it's a coping mechanism, but it's also for survival, to be able to laugh at, not at people dying, but laugh at the fact that we're all okay right now. It happened. It was only 4 or 5 hours it happened, and now everything's done.
Yeah.
We're fine now. We're alive. There are people that are dead. We can't save them. The ones who are needing to be saved, we'll try and save them. But like, let's move forward from here. Let's have a few jokes about it.
Yeah, it was crazy, dude. People were like, dude, you gotta stop. You have to. Like, I was like, why? Like, did you lose your house? No, you didn't. Shut the fuck up. Like, you know.
Well, it's easier
I could joke all I want.
Yeah, I could joke all I want. I lost everything.
It's easier to traverse ground that is familiar, right? Explored territory, than it is unexplored. And so amidst this horrendous disaster in the darkness, it's like, all right, Jacob's saying, I know I'm going to go help and make a difference. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Right? But how do you do it? So he has plans. He's a man of action. He's like, all right, we're going to do this, but it's still unexplored territory. So how do you put the pathway in front of you so it's easier to see to the next step? Oh, you just make jokes about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I know this. This is laugh. This is fun. Yeah. I know this world. And then it's easier to step forward. And the next thing you know, you're helping people. And
people were so confused while we were up there in Lahaina too, passing out stuff. Like, we're just having fun. We're laughing and everything. And I was like, these people don't know that we lost everything. Because I remember the day, so it was the day of the fire. And then the day after, I was kind of reassessing. And then the next day after that, that's when we started. Like, I went right in. And I was among the first people to go back.
Yeah,
they were still fires on.
100%, dude. You were the first. You're the only person I heard of.
Yeah,
and so it was weird. It was a weird mentality. I remember seeing my friends for the first time the day after, and we all thought each other had died.
Wow.
And we were like, "You're alive! Oh my god!" I remember showing up like the third day. It was the first day, kind of like, but I remember going back in, and I was with my friend Nick. He left us. He's in Texas now. So
it's what white people do. They leave.
Thank you, Nicholas. No, he's a good friend. Really
good people.
What's
solid.
his full name?
Nicholas Rowland.
Yeah.
Nicholas Rowland.
Fuck you, Nick. Fucking run away.
Dude. He was solid. He was solid. Yeah, he's a tattoo artist. He did all of these tattoos.
He did this one.
He did that one too.
Yeah.
All your shitty tattoos. Dude, that's a fucking tic-tac-toe, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Memento Mori. Dude.
No, I didn't. He didn't do that one.
Nick, I was actually complimenting Jacob on his tattoos.
He's like,
those are sick.
Like, I was like, what are you, a fucking nerd? Like,
for our listeners and our viewership, the tic-tac-toe tattoo that Nicholas did on you, Jacob, who won that? Is that you or Nick?
Nick won it. So I had
the white man prevailing on your skin again.
I had 3 meetings. I was like, well, if I win, sometimes you win in life.
Yeah.
If I lose, sometimes you lose. And if it was...
You lost everything.
I did lose. I should not have gotten that tattoo.
Yeah, you lost your auntie. You lost a lot of things.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
My car got stolen before the fire, and I finally fixed it up, and then that's gone. But
that's interesting you said that about helping and the humor. because I felt the same way, like, because I felt like I was doing things to, like, help people, like getting someone out of their house, and then, like, it felt like when you're doing things to help, nothing else matters. Like, you're helping.
Yeah.
It's almost like an ego boost. You're just like, I can joke about whatever the fuck I want because I'm helping.
Yeah.
And I lost everything. I'm helping. I am the lady in the Bible who had a penny and gave it away.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm giving away. I'm giving something and I have nothing. And from that state or that stance, you sort of feel really powerful.
It was the most.
You feel infinite because you're giving out of nothing, and it's like everything's just funny from that point. You're just like, what is life like? It's all a joke.
And I'm already stupid as is. Yeah. So that like just made my retardation.
Well, you're actually
completely.
a lot smarter than.
Yeah.
You're really smart, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
I can tell by.
Dude, I don't know any Filipinos that are smart. I don't know any smart Filipinos.
I know, it's crazy. I'm a minority. It's like, I don't know. I only can do math half the time because I'm only half Asian. So sometimes I'm really good at calculating the price of things at the grocery store.
Aren't Filipinos already half Asian, half Spanish?
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, white guy. I get it. But yeah, it was the most.
So you're only a quarter Asian, really?
It was.
Quarter Asian.
It was the biggest, it was the biggest sense of purpose that I've ever had in my life. It was a different sense of purpose. I remember that, it was a higher calling.
Yeah.
And once you step into that, it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Dude, you're a divine call to adventure.
And I remember not even wanting to take the charge on it. I did not want to lead anything. But I remember we'd wake up in the morning, they asked me, okay, what's the plan today?
Yeah.
And it was like,
and you're like,
they had just ushered that in. And so I was like, oh, I'm doing this. And they're like, okay, we'll follow you.
You were literally called to adventure.
It was crazy.
And that's what happens.
And
then you in every hero's journey, you're called, and you have the point where you question, what should I go or should you have to choose to go.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Just like Frodo.
Yeah, I was literally going to say
just like Frodo.
Do it in the
because they went to go do this.
Just like Harry Potter. Yeah. You get the letter in the mail and you have to choose.
Like Frodo was told, like, just go to Rivendell and just take it. And then from there, it was like, and then Sam's like, what are you doing? He's like, I've gotta.
Yeah, and then
no one else wanted to do it. And it was just like, he was like, okay.
Frodo's short, I'm short. Dude, it's crazy.
He's Asian.
You both got Harry
Asian.
Hobbit feet.
Yeah. You're not the first person to say that.
Well, I got Harry Hobbit
Frodo
feet.
likes pussy. You like pussy.
Dude,
actually, we have very similar feet. We probably have some.
Dude, I don't have that hairy feet.
We probably came from the same balls at one point.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're Filipino too?
You know what's crazy? Like, every human came from the same pair of balls at one point.
Yeah, and every hand you've touched has had a dick in it.
Oh, hell.
Female or male. Think about it.
Had a dick in it.
Every mouth has had a...
No, every hand you've touched. Yeah, well, when you kiss your girlfriend, just remember your dick was on that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Whatever your name is.
Yeah.
Oh, she doesn't listen.
Oh, nice.
But just
she's a real female.
Is,
just in case she is.
Yeah.
She's got some nice tits.
Does she really? Show us. You have a picture.
Dude, stop showing us the picture of that.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
That's just for the Spotify.
I'd never show you a picture.
The people on like,
dude, you're a decent person.
I wouldn't either.
I would show everyone pictures.
Well, if she gave me permission, I would. But
I would never become an OnlyFans boyfriend. That's it's degrading. Yeah. It's degrading.
Yeah, an OnlyFans boyfriend.
Yeah, permission. like you give your girl permission to show everything to the world. No, no.
No.
I would never do that.
I would give my mom permission.
I disagree.
Okay, well, you're a hippie.
Yeah.
Are you a hippie?
No. Well, I've been called a hipster before. Whatever that means.
Well, that's just because you have like...
I've been called a hipster.
Because your hair's
curly. All the time.
I like coffee and you go to a coffee shop.
He sounds like he's talking like he wears a fedora. I've actually been called that time to time. Actually.
I've been called that time to time. Herb to herb.
I drink coffee with creamer.
Creamer.
Dude, but like I remember like the day like we finally made it back into Lahaina. I felt so accomplished. And I remember wanting to go to Nixon's house. So me and Nicholas, we went to Nixon's house. And we knocked on the door and his mom saw us but didn't tell Nixon that I was there. So Nixon went downstairs and he turned the corner and he was like just the look on his face. He was like, "I thought you were dead, bro," and he started like freaking out. And it was like, it was so
man.
cool. It was like, wow, you guys really appreciate, you know.
Nixon's good people.
Yeah, he is.
You
But
really appreciate me? Like, what was it? You really appreciate?
what?
You said you people really appreciate.
Like they really appreciated me. Like you realized who really cared
Yeah,
about
you realize they yeah, exactly.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like I remember, dude, if they listen to this podcast, fuck you for this attitude, you know. But I remember I was back in Lahaina and we were riding. I'm not gonna mention names because you know everybody, all my friends, like everybody knows who I'm talking about. I'm a kind of popular guy, you know. Yeah. People kind of know.
Yeah.
But
Very.
I remember going back in and telling them, hey, I want to go to this spot because I have a friend that's missing and we need to look for this friend that's missing. And we got in a whole argument yelling at each other about wanting to go there or not because they wanted to go back to the house and see if their clothes are all right. Yeah, that was the kind of stuff we had to battle with. It was selfish people wanting to go back to the house, check on the clothes. So that's the crazy thing. Dude, there was so much hardship. Even once you made it enough hardship getting through the boundaries, and then when you're in there, people creating drama, people creating all of this issues because they were selfish.
We also lost Argentinian friends as well.
Like,
I would really.
Yeah, just without saying names, like we lost more people.
Yeah.
No, we got to go do this, and it's like, no, we realize everybody has got something, and why it'd be more important. But like the goal and purpose, what you were doing was
Helping
we're getting
people.
stuff and helping people.
and I had to kick people out of the group. I did not work with people because you're helping people. I mean, I'm helping people. You're helping yourself.
Right.
I don't want any part of that. I'm not helping myself. I'm helping people. So when you have these people who like actually get in arguments about wanting to go to your house to check for clothes, your house is still up.
Yeah.
I lost it all. I'm here trying to save a friend that's missing.
Right.
And I can't believe that was an issue, you know?
The perspective, like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
it's nuts. It's nuts. But then, you know, I feel like it was just...
You really learn how people are.
Yeah.
In a time of crisis, you learn how they operate, what's going on deep down.
I had people want to join the group and then tell me like, "Oh, we're gonna tell our corporation that you wanted to collab with us." Like, no, this is all my stuff. Like, this is my donation money that I got. I'm spending it all on people in Lahaina. Why do you want to join the group and take credit for it? Like, people really wanted to do that. Like, DMing me. It's crazy. Yeah. Like, hey, we heard you've been doing all this like for a couple weeks. Like, we want to do some stuff with you. We're just gonna brand it as our group name. Just put a sticker on your car. No, I'm not gonna do that. It was great.
Wow,
Yeah,
dude.
people just wanted to come in, take it, and I remember Nixon looked at me one time. Dude, guys, for all the listeners out there, Nixon is a solid dude. Nixon's a solid dude. He's also single. So if you're female and you're listening to this podcast, Nixon's balls have been untouched.
Untouched.
No, he keeps them clean. That's what I mean. He keeps them clean. So just, guys, mainly gals, focus on that. But he looked at me and he's like, dude,
Let's go.
you know, within a month, nobody's gonna even, like, everybody knows who we are right now. We had random people coming up to us on the street. Hey, I saw you on Instagram. You know, you're a hero. I have people I've never even met. Hey, I know who you are. You're amazing. You're a hero. And he's like, dude, in a month, maybe a month and a half, nobody's gonna even know who we are. And I was like, you know, I know that that's gonna happen, but I don't care.
That's okay.
And I had a conversation with him.
You're not doing it.
Yeah, it wasn't for me.
The clout. You're doing it because you want to help people.
Yeah, and I remember like having a conversation last night with him, and I was like, dude, remember when everyone was calling us heroes? Do you remember when everybody was telling us like all of these like crazy things and everybody knew who we were? And he's like, yeah, dude. And I was like, you know, now that they don't even have a clue who we are and they forgot everything everybody's probably forgotten everything we've done. I was like, I would still go through that a million times over to do and feel the purpose that we had in those first 2 weeks.
Well, and there's this saying that life supports that which supports life. And so in a real way, I believe when you support life, when you help other people, you get this like universal energy that flows through you and you feel it. It's better than drugs, dude. It feels incredible. and it's profound. So you went through the hero's journey. You had the call to adventure. You took it. Did you meet a mentor?
No.
Was someone helping you?
Well, there were a lot of people helping me, but nobody was really like feeding into me from an upwards position, if that makes sense.
No
Like
one was
speaking,
guiding you,
yeah.
except for maybe God.
God was definitely. I mean, I was praying a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, it was definitely a moment where like we had to. But most of the friends that were out there, I hope I can. I'm gonna say the names of the people that were really helpful. It was definitely it was Nixon, Nick Rowland, Tim. He's on the podcast right next to me. This guy's awesome. Yeah, he did.
Agreed.
A lot.
I didn't do anything.
James. What's his last name?
Dude, I don't
James
know.
is solid. Nick Stout. We stayed in his house. He had like a whole refugee camp in his house.
Wow.
David. I don't know his last name. We call him Asian David.
Yeah.
Because his name is David and he's Asian. Who else? Aisha. Aisha's really solid. Aisha. Genevieve helped out too. One of the biggest helps to me. It's gonna be hard to say, but one of the biggest helps for me was Kua Ola Emsley. Man, she was amazing. She was definitely the biggest help in those whole 2 months. Yeah.
And then I'd like to say the background people that were helping but not directly involved.
Yeah.
People from Haleakava, because they had a donation center.
100%.
We were
Right.
the first day I went and helped Jacob. We set up right before we go into the cacao farm, right there by the gate, and Haleakava was making deliveries to the hubs, and then they had more stuff, and the hubs wouldn't take it. They just dropped all their shit off. We got free stuff from we got donations from the church, and stuff that Jacob had bought with donations. Shout out background people, all the people that donated.
We had 7
Everyone.
trucks. We had 8 trucks.
The
of
amount of
supplies
people
that
that came together to help is
Yeah.
beautiful.
in our group alone, just that.
Yeah.
We had people making spam musubis. We had-
300 plus spam musubis.
Yeah, we had
Holy
like
shit.
Then we had the people from the Japanese media.
Yeah, Japanese media. Shout out.
Kegel.
Yeah.
We had Simon.
Yeah.
We had the group that Simon was with, dude. Peace
Yuri.
Wins Japan. Yuri. Dude, it was crazy.
wow.
And what was it? Peace. What was the
Peace Wins Japan.
Piss wins. Peace wins. Peace wins
Like,
Japan.
you're starting another war.
Piss Wiener Japan.
Dude, Peace Winds came through, and still to this moment, if Jacob called them, they would come.
They
and
told me that.
They would bring set up on the ground a hub.
They said
they would do whatever.
This is we're the A team. We have a B team right now on standby in Japan, and you give us a call if there's something an issue that is too big for you to handle. You call us. We have medicine. We have supplies.
Oh
we
my
have a team,
God.
and we'll send them over for you.
Dude,
Crazy.
I was like,
that's
what?
fucking badass.
I was like, dude, yeah. So like in this moment, like I didn't even want to lead. I wanted to feel sad, but I still haven't cried tears for that whole time, and
To
it's
this day-
healthy
to
to
this
cry.
day.
Yeah, but like,
Do you
dude,
feel like you need to do that? Do you feel like you
100%.
need to
There was
process
so
it?
much. There was so much that went down even after, like personal things,
I think that's the beauty.
people that I had to let go of.
The beauty and the dramatic irony of men. They can turn off their emotional center and help.
And they should. Like that's what men should do. Men should definitely feel emotions, but they should know when to feel them.
Right.
We don't need a culture of men crying and whining and complaining.
Yeah, no
and
fag shit.
If
Well-
nobody agrees with what I'm saying, I'll stand by that. You know,
I agree with that. We don't need that. We don't need a culture of women crying, whining, or complaining either.
the women are supposed to back the men.
Because
They don't believe that though.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a whole other conversation, but I think it's a modern world where women and men are crying, whining, and complaining. And in a non-modern world, both genders were much more, I would say, emotionally intelligent. And I think emotional intelligence is about understanding the full spectrum of emotions and knowing how to navigate. So if you're feeling depressed, you know how to feel better. Not whine and complain where you are,
Right.
but to move up into a place of gratitude, hopefully. But it takes time, but you have to feel emotions. You are always feeling an emotion, even if it's just dullness. Even that's still an emotion. Boredom, apathy. Like I think apathy is one of the worst feelings in the world.
Oh, dude, I hate
you'd rather be crying than feeling that.
Yeah.
But so you feel like you still need to process some emotions.
Definitely. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen even after the fire.
Yeah.
And before the fire, like a week before the fire, I had a friend who killed himself. He went missing for 4 days and then he killed himself.
Dude, I'm sorry.
And so that was like, and I remember seeing him a week before he did that and being like, hey man, we need to hang out. We got to talk. I haven't seen you in a while. And so that was hard. And then the fire, and then after the fire, I had a lot of personal things that I needed to get through and take care of, and that was a hard thing too.
Do you want to talk about those?
It was just things with.
You don't have to.
I had somebody that was really keeping me strong in that moment, through the fire and even after the fire, and then I had to kind of let her go. We didn't push each other away. We just saw that there were differences that we wouldn't look over with each other.
Right.
I would definitely go back to her if we both. I mean, I'm willing. I want to try and make it work, but I don't think it would. But you know, there's always hope in every situation. I would love for it to make it work.
Definitely.
But the thing is she was a real woman, man. She literally called me and she said she basically kind of gave me this lecture about how she knows that I have feelings too, and that whatever I feel, she's gonna back me up through the whole thing. Never have I had a woman tell me that.
Goosebumps.
Chicken skin.
And she said, I will hold your hand and I will walk with you through it the whole way.
Dude.
And I was like, so
Dude, that's a good one.
yeah, she was a keeper. So that was definitely, in most aspects, that was harder than the fire.
Right, of course.
But
Because she helped me through the fire.
it's not POW though. It's management's restructuring. You're just dealing with like
Right now it is.
Yeah, management's
It's
just
over.
restructuring.
It's over.
That's all it is.
It's over.
And I feel like she doesn't want anything to do with me now, which is sad, but you know, there's always hope.
I'm right here, dude. I'll fucking jerk you off.
That's good. That's awesome, bro.
I'll fucking.
You gotta love, dude.
friends.
His hands are so callous. It's gonna feel like a sandpaper jerking, bro. Oh yeah. If you ever want to feel
like
something,
a homeless guy jerking.
dude, get some
off.
sandpaper and just jerk that shit, dude.
Dude, I want to say this about you because I believe this. We had this actually. We slightly visited it the other night, but if you read in the Bible, there's a character called Job, and Job was like man after God's own heart. He was like looked great in God's eyes, and then something about Seth, aka Lucifer, aka fucking Satan, was like wanted to test someone, and God said, test my guy right here. And Jacob reminded me of Job, and then we talked about this, remember? And it's like, because things Jacob has just said is even pre-fire, let's say 2 years, a year before this fire.
Oh my gosh, don't make me get started.
There's been like one huge thing happen, horrible, another thing. Then fast forward to what, like a month before the fire, he comes over to our house for the first time.
It was like 3 months. 3 months before the fire.
3 months before fire. Car gets stolen.
4, yeah.
Car gets stolen.
It was in February.
And then our other friend's truck gets broken into. And finally he finds it, right? And then like that's going on. So now he's like doesn't have a vehicle, and like we're all hanging out still. We got very close. And then this shit happens. And it's just like, and I was like, Jacob, do you feel like it's like why is it? But it's like a Job test, man. I mean, he's like Job in that sense. It's like I feel like with his faith, the divine powers are like, all right, well, I'm going to keep testing you. And it's not that this is ever going to be over. The test is over, because life is always that adventure and that journey and test. But it's like, it just seems like he's going through all this shit. And that's how he reminds me of Job. Also, Job had a big dick. He's got a big dick. So
He's seen it.
that's that Job dick.
X-ray vision.
X-ray. Yeah, I have X-ray vision.
All 4 inches.
So,
But like,
interesting.
people don't know, like, within the past year and a half, I've lost my life about 4 times. I've had to rebuild it back up. Like, I was in ministry for a while. Dated a girl. She was terrible. She lied about me. And so she was a pastor's kid. So, of course, everybody believes her. So I got removed from ministry and kind of humiliated in front of a lot of people. And people that I called brothers and sisters would, like, look down on me and just rail me to my face. So then I had to rebuild up from that. And that was July 4th of last year. And then after that, on New Year's, when I finally had gotten my attitude back to where, hey, okay, life is about ready to turn around, another issue happened where the friends that I had around me all banded together and like created this drama between me and this other person. And that was hard too. So it felt like I lost my life again. And then my car got stolen. That was hard because I had money in that car. My wallet was in that car, so they drained my bank accounts, both of them. And then they took all the cash in my wallet, all my gear in there, everything.
Damn.
Shout out Happy Valley.
Yes, sir. And then after that, then the fire. So it was like in that moment I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So like when I broke up with this girl, it was like there was a moment, there was a few days where I was just sitting there like, I don't even want to try anymore. This is after we've done all the runs and everything, the donation money's gone. I was like, I don't even want to try anymore. But then I was like, you know what? Nah, fucking thug walk that shit out, bro. Fucking just thug it out.
Yeah,
be a man. Stop whining, stop complaining. Go do something for once.
Be a man.
Be a man.
Be a man.
And, being a man not necessarily isn't meaning shut yourself off from the emotions. But being a man is getting up from whatever life throws at you. Getting up from what knocks you down and keeping on moving forward. Chest out, head up, stand up straight, and keep moving forward. That's what being a man is. Amen. That's what true masculinity is.
Amen, amen, son.
That's what it is. That's what I believe it's that.
Yeah. I agree in the sense that it's having the faith and the hope.
Yeah.
And the trust.
Right. Just moving forward.
I don't think it's always about taking action immediately or blindly taking action. But I do believe it's moving forward, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, you have to, man. Forward. Gotta go.
I like, you ever heard the term burn the ships?
Yeah.
You know about that story, right? I forget the guy's name, but he was a Spaniard and he was going down.
You told me this,
into the like he was going to conquer the Aztecs. And what he told his men was when they landed, he told them to burn the ships because there was no turning back. And it was just forward or nothing. You go all
dude, that's so gangster.
That is like,
right.
And they did that. They burn the ships.
Back?
Yeah.
Like, burn the fucking ship.
Just like burn the ships.
Can we think about this?
But what if it doesn't work out?
Yeah, it's like
there is no turning back.
It has already worked out.
Oh, but see,
that's the mentality that I want. I love that mentality.
That's the issue. Not to get too great, but that's the fucking issue right now. Is like so many people are looking at the ship and looking for the way out, and it's like the activism, the revolution, the change, the school of thought to be changed in that perspective. You have to stop looking at the ship. That is your ride back home.
That's why I think if I had
you
stuff,
left home.
I wouldn't have done
when you
anything.
were born.
Yeah.
If I had things, I wouldn't have done anything. Right. So that moment where I let go of my life as I knew it, that was my moment of burning the ships. There's no turning back.
And that point where you were saying you were laying down and you're like, I don't even want to try anymore. I think that's actually a much more powerful point than you're giving it, because I think when you give up, you release power back to the Almighty, to the universe,
because it's not you trying.
It empowers your life again.
Right.
And so what you had that moment of giving up, you probably had it just like, I'm not even going to do anything. Probably whether it was for 5 minutes or 5 days, I don't know. But as soon as you did that, then you were probably re-energized because God, whatever universal source was like, finally you're giving it back to me. Let me reorganize some things.
Dude, that's profound.
Yeah,
that's really And it's
that's the power of meditation, but that's also the power of retreat. It's the power of a vacation. It's the power of sitting in a cabin for a week and doing nothing. It's the power of, not always trying to constantly figure shit out. Because there's taking action with your body, but there's also taking action with your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes
I'm a philosopher too, and I could be an overthinker and I could take way too much. And then once you release, that's why I meditate, is I have to release.
Yeah.
And I think there's something profound about that too. And you had that moment when you were driving too in the fires. You gave up. You died inside.
Yeah, and I was like, dude.
That's the same thing. Where you released
that's crazy.
All of your own control, and then by result, you gained all the power.
And much more, yeah.
That's so profound. Because it's like in the scripture, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.
Me, yeah.
It's not necessarily.
Yep.
It's not necessarily I can do everything.
You said that.
It's not I can do it all. Yeah. But it's like, I can do it because He can do it in me.
Yep.
That's the thing.
How does it feel to have God shoot His semen right into your life?
I am not laughing at that. I am not. God, He's sitting over there. You're gonna have a heart attack right now. You're gonna die.
You got fucking.
You're gonna die. Oh, that is
Let's
so
go deliver some fucking spam, bitches. Yes.
That is so bad. Oh my goodness.
That's not bad. That's the best thing I've heard all day.
Goodness.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
All right, here's the deal.
It was fun though.
Here's the
Dude,
deal.
well, and like, I relate to that because the points in my life where I felt the best were after points I had given up. Like, and the giving up wasn't I wanted to kill myself, because I think that's killing yourself is the ultimate not giving up. It's the ultimate I want to take full control. Mm-hmm. But giving up, I like would be in points of extreme pain, and giving up trying to figure out these questions. Why me? Why am I suffering? And I want to do something about it. Just giving up and accepting that you're gonna die. That maybe it just sucks. Mm-hmm. And it's like this whole, once you accept that shit sucks, and sometimes I just can't do it, and I just can't figure it out, and it's just I'm gonna die and that's it. Then you accept that state that is a low state of energy, and as in that acceptance you bump up to a new level of energy, and it's so amazing. You bump up to the, like, you immediately start raising your vibration because you aren't fighting the state that you're in. You're not avoiding the pain. I think there's the most pain and suffering in life comes from avoiding pain.
That's true.
That's true. Why we drink.
Because you're
kratom.
so scared.
That's why we drink alcohol.
Hey, all right, don't bring the kratom into this.
Kratom because
that's why
it makes my dick big.
That's why. Oh, really? Fucking give me some more.
Bottoms up, bitches.
It does. It
That's
actually
why we
increases,
watch social media and drown ourselves out. Like, that's why I take a million supplements. Like, because I'm avoiding
like fish semen.
Yeah.
Fish. Oh, I love fish semen.
Well, that's
Dude,
just
he was
row.
holding me down and like squirting it on my lips, and he's like, "Lick it off your lips," and I was like, "Dude,
He made
I wish I did that. That's making me hard.
You got ocean semen, bro.
I did." But I used to dive and everything, so I did that before. It's
So
like, you know,
okay, so you
salty.
you went through like multiple heroes' journeys already in like the past 2 months, which is incredible. Because in the hero's journey, the point in which you give up is the abyss. It's when the hero hits the hardest part of the journey, where they are faced between life and death, and it's only their kind of will and faith and destiny that keeps them alive, really. So at the end of the hero's journey, you learn something that you have to bring back and teach everybody. So what is it? What have you learned?
Oh, dude, put him on a spot.
What have you learned? What have you learned through all of the 4 years? But also reflecting off of what's happened, and you saving people, helping people, witnessing people die, being tested. I'm not a huge fan of thinking that life is about learning lessons. I don't really think that, but I think we attract lessons to learn because we want to learn, because we want to understand. So what have you learned? What do you want to share with the world?
Oh man, my definitely the thing that has been rotating around in my head so often is to surround yourself with quality people. Because I mean, even the first week of the fire, I was surrounded by certain people that were not what I needed in that moment. And they were bringing the crew down. They were bringing people down. It was creating strife. You need to surround yourself with quality people. That's one of the main ones. And then
what are quality people?
Quality people are people that are selfless. Selfless people.
Interesting.
Because there are so many people out there that are so consumed and they're just so enamored by their themselves, what they can do, what they own, what they're worth.
Right.
That it downgrades their perspective of other people.